We hate his bombastic nature. We hate his perverted character. We hate he's a liar. We hate he's a bully. We hate he's a coward. Yeah, hi there, Brian. I very much admire your show.
Thank you.
And just a very brief background, from 2017, when I first saw Donald Trump stalking Hillary Clinton on stage, I knew this guy was a world ender. And I told my brother, who lives in America, he's an American citizen now, this guy could end the world. And this is what's happening. This is what's happening. This guy is on the verge of precipitating a World War III in Europe. He's an immoral moron. And I cannot believe he got voted in the second time. I just can't believe it.
Neither can I. Neither can I. I mean, what do you think about America and American voters that somehow this guy got back into the White House?
Look, the first time I got it, I got why they thought he was a disruptor, and the American political machine was corrupt and run by pseudo oligarchs and so on and so forth. I understood that, and they thought he was going to change it. That's the lie he told. That's the impression he gave. But he clearly, anybody with half a brain can see that's not what he did, and that's not what he was, and that's not who he is. Mm-hmm. And yet, you voted him for the second time. I was so sure this wouldn't happen. I came to America to watch the election with my brother.
Wow.
I came to San Francisco to watch it with him and to celebrate his defeat. Mm. And I mean, pick him once, okay. Pick him twice, you're crazy.
So I agree with you.
Crazy. How did 70
I agree with what you're saying. I wanted to ask you, when you have conversations like this about Donald Trump with other of your fellow neighbors in the UK, what is that conversation like? What do you guys talk about?
Well, largely we hate him in Britain. We hate him. He's exactly the type of person Britons don't like. We don't like bullies in this country, which is why we stood up to Hitler. And that's the character of Britain. We don't like bullies. You know, we're not necessarily, we don't think we're better than anybody, but we do not like bullies. We hate his bombastic nature. We hate his perverted character. We hate he's a liar. We hate he's a bully. We hate he's a coward. He's everything we hate. And 99% of the time I talk to people in England, this is the conversation. Once in a while, I will come across somebody who's a Trumper, which befuddles me, and I generally won't talk to them again. But to me, it's a mark of low character. It's like me saying I love Ted Bundy.
Right. I would like to think. I hear you. I agree. I'd like to think that there are a lot of people out there around the world, just like you, sir, just like you, Paul. There's a lot of people around the world that are decent people, educated people. Doesn't mean we have to agree with every politician about everything. We can disagree on policy, but understanding the danger that Donald Trump is, and it befuddles me like it does you, sir, on how there are so many Americans in this country that voted against their self-interest and that are brainwashed. And it's really, really sad, my friend. It's sad.
It's terribly sad. I mean, of course, the media is very much, Fox News is almost a criminal organization, what it did. And there are other peoples I blame. I mean, I know more about American politics than most Americans, because in 2017, I was terrified by him then.
Yeah.
I was terrified by the man in 2017. To me, I saw a guy, like I said, who could end the planet, because he doesn't give a crap what happens after he dies.
Agree.
He doesn't care. As long as in life, yeah,
I agree.
He's like the hog at the trough, getting the most swill. That's who he is.
Well, listen, we need more people like you speaking out, calling into radio shows like this one, and I am honored that you listen to the show. And what time is it out there, by the way?
Well, it's 10 to 10 at night here, and your show's great.
Thank you.
I love the way you call people out with facts. Mm-hmm. Not with. I mean, I was on Twitter a lot. I used to tweet. I'm off it now. The amount of hatred I would get, people saying the most vile things on there, but not arguing at least rationally. At least give me an argument.
They can't.
I don't mind debating with you. I don't mind. And you can't, because they say the most stupid stuff. They say stupid stuff.
Hunter Biden's laptop.
Go back home, you limey bastard.
Right. Hunter Biden's laptop. Joe Biden's a pedophile. Trump's
Oh God,
Trump's a patriot. Yeah. Listen, my friend, I'm so glad you called, Paul. Please call back again, and I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much.
People may think that this is an American problem, but it most certainly isn't, and it's only just begun. In terms of global impact, it's only just started. The story I didn't mention when we first spoke was this: my eldest son, who's such a good kid, got a young baby, and he's got a partner, and all he ever wanted to do was work for charity, and he does. He works for a charity. He administers in the charity. The day, within 24 hours of the Trump cuts to USAID, because this charity is funded by USAID, he was made redundant. Within 24 hours, my son was made redundant. He's a good boy. He's worth 1,000, if not 1,000,000 Donald Trumps. He was made redundant because of the USAID Trump cuts. The point I'm making is the stench of that guy in the White House is reaching all over the planet.
Yeah.
He's thinking up the whole planet, the guy in the White House. And it's affected me and my family already personally.
This is really important. I want to address this because you're calling from the UK, and some people, not all, but some people think Donald Trump is only, can affect people in the United States of America. And that's why I say over and over again, this is affecting the world for the most part in a negative fashion, unless you're an evil dictator like a Vladimir Putin or a Kim Jong-un. For the most part, Donald Trump is affecting good, hardworking people across the world. And you just gave a prime example of that, right?
Exactly why I brought it up. Exactly why I brought it up. People may think that this is an American problem, but it most certainly isn't, and it's only just begun. In terms of global impact, it's only just started.
It has only just started. You're right.
Only just started. I mean, if you extrapolate where it's going, Trump leaves NATO, obvious. Trump, Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un form their own NATO. Not so obvious, but possible.
Right.
They decide to create a new world order and gain control of errant countries like, say, I don't know, Greenland, Panama, Finland, Norway, Ukraine. It's possible. We just don't know how far this is going to go.
Can I ask you for that?
Didn't know. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interject, but I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah.
For the naysayers out there, and I shouldn't even call them naysayers, but for the MAGA morons out there that would say to somebody like you, sir, living in the UK, mind your own business. Don't worry about American politics. What would you say? Yeah, I'm sure you do with these imbeciles. What do you say to them?
I've been getting for years. I always say the same thing. Anybody who thinks that the most powerful, richest country in the world doesn't impact the entire planet is a MAGA moron, properly. Definitely a moron. Of course you impact the whole world. Of course you do. And so when I first saw Trump as a threat, I was concerned for the future, not just of America, but my future, my children's future and their children's future. That's where my concerns were. Yeah. And my concerns have grown massively since the guardrails came off Trump. Yeah. They've grown massively because you've got an amoral idiot in the White House who's controlled by monsters who have got more than a vestigial brain, like him.
Well, you're right.
Monsters like Putin.
Oh, sure. I agree with you. Well, listen, the good news is that there's a lot of Americans that are on your side. Clearly, we got your back, my friend. And we're on the same page. We got to keep up the great fight. And I appreciate you calling all the way from the UK. I think it's a little late at night out there. But we appreciate you calling in, my friend. Good to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Every day in American politics has more impacts on world affairs. But as you mentioned, Trump calling Zelensky a dictator extraordinary. I think of myself as a critical thinker. I'm a mathematician. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's something that nobody's talked about, which I find very curious. And it's Elon Musk being so, the president being so dependent on him. Right?
Yep.
Now, what really, that position, that thing in the Oval Office, when Musk deliberately humiliated Trump, there's no question what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He deliberately humiliated him. He owned him in front of the world. in normal times, Trump wouldn't put up with 1/10 of that. We know why he vilified Fauci. He vilified Fauci because Fauci was getting attention. But quite rightly in that case, Fauci is not an attention seeker. Everybody's eyes are on Fauci because he's the guy who could save us.
Right.
But Trump still picked a fight with him because he didn't like the fact he was center stage. Now, Elon Musk does exactly the same thing and sticks it right in his face, and Trump doesn't do anything. And I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but here I go. I think it's not. I don't think Putin's got anything on Trump. He doesn't need to. All he has to do is flatter him. A guy like Putin makes mincemeat of guys like Trump.
Yeah.
This is a KGB guy. Trump's like a baby to him. He can make him lick his boots.
Yeah.
And Trump would think he'd won.
Yeah.
But what my feeling is that Musk's got something on it, and just speculative. I know it's speculative. I know.
Interesting.
No
Okay,
hard
so
theory.
so
let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's say Musk did get him to enable him to win the election in some means or another.
Right.
And Musk had that information, which if he released it, not only would Trump be known as the election cheat, but Musk wouldn't be done somehow. Musk wouldn't be found guilty in any way. Supposing he had something that big on him. Something that big, because I just don't see any reason why Trump would let Musk do this thing.
So here's what I'm going to say to that.
And lock him. Yeah.
Paul, hear me out. I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin both have something on Donald Trump. And I think that's the reason. Now, I do feel that Donald Trump admires dictators. But I think that it's something, between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, I think Putin has something on Trump. I agree with you. I think Musk has something on Donald Trump, and I don't know what that is either. But for whatever reason, maybe it could just be the fact that Musk said, I'm going to put almost $500 million into your campaign. But if you win, here's what you have to do for me. You don't have to pay me back, but you got to put me in charge of this, this, and this. So I think it could be a number of different things. But I think, as we both will probably agree, putting a guy like an Elon Musk in this position, by the way, the position, according to the White House, keeps changing every day, is very dangerous for America. It's dangerous for the world. But Donald Trump doesn't care. And I think that's what makes this really, really dangerous.
No, I disagree with you about the campaign donation. This is why. Trump's already got that. Once he's got it, he stiffs you. So I don't think that would be the leverage. I respect what you're saying, but I think he's already got, when he's already got what he wants from you.
Okay, so Paul, you might be right on that. But here's why I would respectfully disagree. We're not talking about a $3 or $5 million construction contract. We're talking about almost $500 million and one of the richest men in the world. It's one thing to screw over a private business that you owe $500 million to, that you stiff. And we know that he's done that multiple times in his life. We're talking about the richest man in the world with a tremendous ego, right up there with Trump. I'm not saying you're wrong. You might be right, but that's why I disagree with that.
Yeah, I think you've got that's a fair point. I still feel it's something bigger than that.
It could be.
I think it's something really, really bad.
What is the biggest fear?
And I think, by the way,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Putin's got something on every American politician.
Sure,
if he can,
sure.
If he can get it, he's got it.
What does it say about
I'm pretty sure he's got something on Lindsey.
Oh, I'm sure. Lindsey Graham. What does it say about our president? He called Zelensky a dictator today. And then yesterday he said Ukraine started the war. You live in the Ukraine, sir. What do people in the Ukraine think about that? The president of the United States calling the president of Ukraine a dictator.
I'm British. I'm European. The Second World War's closer to us. I'm also Jewish, like you. Mm-hmm. For him to say a thing like that is so despicable. If I could be in the same room with Trump, I'd take a risk and smack him.
Well, I'll tell you,
I would take the risk of getting
I can understand.
Down by security.
I hear your frustration. I don't want you to do that because you seem like a very nice man. Hey, I appreciate you calling from the UK, sir, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Yeah. Please call back anytime.